Hey, what's up? Like, subscribe. This is Philip Pfister, giving you a little Dozer update. So here we go. I've been talking about the steering control valve here and the clutch assembly down there, and inside that case where the steering control valve mounts, the bevel gear shaft, bevel gear housing, bevel gear flange, bevel gear bearings, bevel gear seal. Didn't really find anything that looked too bad. Everything looked to be in working order. Just really, biggest takeaway is I just kind of cleaned up the steering control valve, replaced every seal I found everywhere. Um, Bevel gear bearing and bevel gear seals seemed fine. Clutch pack itself was fine, and the clutch was staying engaged. So I guess that's to be expected. That the clutch itself was fine. It's just I can't get it to disengage. So I don't really know if I found the problem, but I'm going to put it all back together. So that's kind of the update. Is everything's going back together. Just taking my time with it. I got I got this big giant 700-pound tilt cylinder for the blade. I got that rebuilt. It usually costs about $2,000 to have these things rebuilt, and that's kind of the quote I got. And it was early on in getting the Dozer, and I wasn't sure I was going to be able to even make the Dozer work. It was like $500 to have the hoses rebuilt, replaced, for the cylinder. And at that point, the Dozer wasn't even moving, so I kind of slowed my roll on that stuff, but got the Dozer working a lot better, and cut a little bit of a break on the pricing for both of those things. And it's really kind of a sad story. When I went to pick up this cylinder, my friend Marty, over the decades, he's had a lot of hydraulic cylinders rebuilt for some really big equipment, anything and everything that would need a hydraulic cylinder rebuilt. He sent them to a lot of different shops and so forth. And the gentleman he sent me to, he said he is the best. The guy's name is Ron Bledsoe. Ron's Hydraulic Repair in Milton, West Virginia. But just a few days ago, they figured out that he had stage 4 brain cancer, like 5 tumors on his brain, 4 or 5 tumors on his brain, and also has stage 4 lung cancer. The guy's 80 years old. But my friend Marty said, hey man, Ron rebuilds cylinders and they never fail. They just work great. They stay together. And that's not always the case when you get a hydraulic cylinder rebuilt, apparently. Some people, just don't have the skill and experience to do the job right. So it's really kind of bittersweet. It was really cool to meet Ron. He was a really, really strong guy in his day. And I told him just kind of put the brakes on my cylinder when I dropped it off, because I wasn't sure I was going to be able to fix my Dozer, and I didn't want to spend thousands of dollars fixing it only to junk it. But eventually I got enough confidence that I would be able to fix and use the machine, and I pulled the trigger and I was like, go for it. And so I had the cylinder replated, and got the call from his wife yesterday to come and pick up the cylinder from Ron's wife, and she told me he was in the hospital. And I met the other gentleman that works in Ron's shop, a 75-year-old fellow named Don Chapel. And Don's like, I gotta find a new job. And he's like, I've got one more cylinder to rebuild, and then this shop's done. So 30 years in business, those guys were working on lathes made in the World War II era and just doing a fantastic job. 75-year-old gentleman and 80-year-old gentleman kicking ass in the hydraulic world. Way out in the middle of nowhere, Milton, West Virginia, about 15 or 20 minutes out of the town of Milton. Gosh, man, it's sad to lose the old school guys who have that work ethic and have that skill set and really love what they do. And it's great that they have a reason to get up every morning and go to work and be excited about it. You know, that's what keeps people alive. You know, you hear about someone retiring and then 6 months later, a few years later, they're dead because they don't have a reason to get up in the morning and have fun things to do and cool stuff to do. They don't have purpose. Anyway, that's an interesting aside, but so I'm going to get the hydraulic tilt cylinder back on the machine here in the next several days or the next week or two. Get all this stuff put back together. It's mostly back together now. I've got to hook up this on this side and one over there on that side. Then I've got to hook up my linkages right there, the clutch steering linkages, and yeah, just start putting this thing back together, put the floor in, put the seat in, put the fuel tank in, put the roof on. It's a lot of work. It's a big job, but most of it's behind me, and hopefully this machine will work, you know, with both clutches. But if it doesn't, man, I'll just run it with one clutch. I can do what I need to do. It won't be ideal, but it'll work just fine. I mean, both clutches will be engaged, but only one will be able to disengage. But hopefully straightening out the few little things that I found might fix the disengagement of the clutch on the left side. I don't know. It could be just as simple as an adjustment as well in the linkage. Wouldn't that be something? But anyway, regardless of the outcome, I don't have any regrets for going in here and trying to fix it. And I've learned a lot, and I've gained a lot of confidence. And you know, there's nothing like hands-on experience to tear something down and at least tear it down a little bit. I'm glad we didn't have to tear it down any farther. Taking the bearing out for the bevel gear, bearings on both sides, so the bevel gear, and redoing those bearings and the shims to shim the bearings in and all that kind of stuff would have been way beyond my pay grade, and it would have been a nightmare of a job, and I think my friend Marty would have had to do it, and I'm certain he didn't want to, but I probably could have nudged him into it and, you know, paid him $1,000 or $2,000 or whatever it would have cost, or found someone else, you know, that might have had some skill, but I'm sure it would have cost $1,000 or $2,000 just in labor to get the right person in there to get all that right and sync the bevel gear and the pinion gear up and get the right dial gauge setting in there. And apparently the shims for the bearings on the bevel gear are really, really tough, and it's not an easy place to work. You're all bent over and stuff like that, and it takes a lot of trial and error. So you definitely want somebody who knows what they're doing, trying to do there, and has done it before. If you need to tackle a job like that with new bearings rather, and seals on the bevel gear. But I don't think that was the problem. That's the good news. Didn't have to go that far. So now it's time to put it back together and hope and pray for the best. And once I get done working on the D8, this thing needs some love, and not just cosmetically. It doesn't want to tram very well. I think it might be the swivel seals leaking off hydraulic pressure when I'm trying to put hydraulic fluid to the track motors. Might be losing pressure there. So the machine works great, it works fine. It's just it really doesn't like to track, especially like uphill. It doesn't like to track with a load, and the warmer it gets, the less it likes to do it. So probably something kind of simple, I hope. And anyway, it is a beautiful, beautiful day. Just wanted to give you a little update, and hopefully the next several updates will be me reporting lots of good news. All right, have a beautiful day.